Good evening, everyone. Today is Thursday, September 25th, 2025. Welcome to the Town of Cutler Bay's budget hearing. Mr. Clerk, if you could please take the roll.
Councilmember Duncan.
Here.
Councilmember Ramirez.
Here.
Councilmember Lord.
Here.
Vice Mayor Callahan.
Here.
Mayor Mirbach.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, if you could please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Good evening, everybody. Mr. Clerk, if you could please read the instructions for calling in.
Please be advised that when joining the meeting, you are automatically muted. Welcome to tonight's meeting. The public was able to make public comments prior to the meeting, either by leaving a voicemail message or sending an email to the town clerk. There were no public comments received by the clerk's office. If you wish to speak tonight, please press *9 and the host will be alerted. Pressing *9 is known as raising your hand. Once you press *9, you will be placed in a queue to speak and will be called upon by your name and address. Please state your name and address. If you are a hired consultant or town employee or if you are engaged in lobbying activities or representing an organization, please provide that information before speaking. Please be sure to be in a quiet area to avoid unnecessary noise. A time limit of 3 minutes will be imposed for each speaker during public comments.
All right, thank you very much. At this time, I'm opening up the floor for public comments. Anybody wishing to speak, please come forward. There is none in the auditorium. Is it in the queue?
There is no one in the queue.
Public comments is now closed. We've been meeting weekly, so any additional town board and committee reports been submitted or good? This takes us to the town manager report. Officer?
None at this time.
All right, takes us to the town attorney's report. Roger?
Very briefly, I'll just mention that obviously the town adopted a resolution authorizing participation in the litigation against SB 180.
Mhm.
We are looking at filing a complaint fairly soon. So I'll keep you all posted. And if you have any individual questions, feel free to contact me after.
All right, thank you very much. All right, that takes us to the town clerk's report, sir.
No report this evening.
All right. All right, again, it's on our agenda, so I'm gonna move, we have item 8A, and I'm gonna go ahead and move that down a little bit, and we're gonna go right into item 11A. All right, give me a moment. If I put my glasses on, it helps, I guess. Okay. Gonna go to item 11A, so if you could please read item 11A and B together, please.
Item 11A, a resolution of the mayor and the town council of the town of Cutler Bay, Florida, adopting the final millage rate of the town of Cutler Bay for the fiscal year commencing October 1st, 2025 through September 30th, 2026 pursuant to section 200.065 Florida statutes and providing for an effective date. 11B, a resolution of the mayor and the town council of the town of Cutler Bay, Florida, adopting the final operating and capital outlay budget for the fiscal year commencing October 1st, 2025 through September 30th, 2026 pursuant to section 200.065 Florida statutes, authorizing the town manager to make expenditures consistent therewith and authorizing the town manager to make certain budget amendments within a department, provided that the total of the appropriations is not changed, and providing for an effective date.
All right, thank you. Rob, did you want to start us off on this, sir?
Yes, if we could have Robert read the term notice requirement statement.
Good evening. This is the required term statement for the second budget hearing. The tentative millage rate of the town of Cutler Bay for fiscal year 2025-26 of 2.8332 mils per $1,000 of assessed property value within the town of Cutler Bay is 7.03% greater than the rolled back rate of 2.6471 mils per $1,000 of assessed property value. Ad valorem taxes are being increased primarily to help provide for operating expenditures required to maintain current levels of resident services, including police services, reflecting the increases in those costs due to current economic conditions and inflationary trends that are anticipated to continue in the upcoming fiscal year, and for police services, reflecting negotiated union contract costs. Additionally, provision is being made for soil remediation efforts at Blue Heron Park and Legacy Park.
Thank you, Robert. Mayor, members of council, I'd like to go ahead and have a nice little recap PowerPoint. If we could have the town clerk put it up on the screen, please. Okay. As we mentioned earlier, this is our second and final budget hearing as state mandated was for September 25th. We know the org chart that we have. Ways to communicate with residents quickly. I'm not going to read each one, but there's a lot of ways that residents can communicate with us. This looks familiar because we've gone through this before through the budget workshops and the budget hearing. We have good news that we have up to 27,000 followers across all of our social media accounts. So we feel that we have a great way to communicate our message across, communicate with residents. Budget workshops is a little quick recap. The first budget workshop we started this journey back in June of 18. We had our visiting session. We had our July 30th second workshop. We talked about the general fund. And then on August 28th, we introduced all the funds. And there on the right-hand side, you see all the different views we had online. Hearings, we had the hearing on September 11th. We had over 70 people view it online, introduced all our funds, and other community conversations that we've had. It was discussed during our August open mic night. And there we had over 1,200 folks that were able to view the open mic night discussion regarding the upcoming budget. Ways that we get the notice out through our e-news, community newspapers. We posted on the website. We also displayed on our electric message boards, both on Caribbean and Marlin Road, soon to be Franger Road as well. We also discussed it during our open mic night on August 26th. One of the things we're very proud of is our financial transparency portal that we have. It's online. Folks can see exactly what we're doing with the funds. Another item that we're very proud of is 16 consecutive years receiving the Excellence in Financial Reporting Award. And we also have the Budget Presentation Award. We had 7 consecutive years, and we're going to restart that back in 2026. As we started this journey, Mayor, members of council, if you recall, we adopted the ceiling millage rate on July 16th. It did 2 things. One, we set the ceiling at 3.0432, knowing that our current millage rate is 2.8332. But this resolution also set the dates and the times for our budget hearing, September 11th, 6 p.m., and tonight's meeting, September 25th. Then during our first budget hearing, we adopted Resolution 2558, setting a new ceiling rate, which is lower than the initial ceiling rate. We set it at 2.8332. We then went ahead and built the budget around that. This graphic I like to show to residents. That way you can see where we rank amongst one of the lowest municipalities within Miami-Dade County. We are right here, Cutler Bay, and we are the 9th lowest in Miami-Dade County. And that 2.8332 is what we're proposing here tonight as well. Our fund balance reserves, very healthy, 28,694,243. Would come to the asterisk there if you've been following us, because we know we've committed about approximately $6 million for some of the soil remediation projects that we have on Legacy Park. Millage rate, historical millage rate for the last 12 years. Now you see the chart change a little bit because now we have a new lower ceiling millage rate of 2.8332, consistent since 2022. Brief recap of a first budget workshop. It was on June 18th. One of the things we're very proud of that you could always go back to on our website and watch the video. There, we introduced some of the key initiatives that we wanted to discuss in general government, Parks and Recreation, and Public Works Department. During our second budget workshop, we introduced the general fund. On July 30th, we introduced how to read the budget book, which we have here. And in fact, if you've been following us, what we do is kind of constantly update this budget book, which is also online. The residents can sit there and look at all the budget sheets that we have. We talked about the millage. We also explained how to read the trim notice, because a lot of folks, maybe they've received it in the mail, they didn't understand it, and we took some time there. We also talked about our COLA calculations, make sure that we comply with our new resolution. And then we also had a preview of our stormwater utility fund. During our third budget workshop, now we introduced funds, all the funds, because at that point we already had the information from the property appraiser's office. Video recordings, the third budget workshop. Again, we discussed how to read the book. We recapped what we talked about in the second workshop, the millage rate ceiling discussion, the COLA discussion, how to read the trim notice, But on this workshop, then we started introducing our special revenue fund projects, and capital projects fund, the municipal complex, and then also the stormwater utility. During our first budget hearing was on September 11th. We further discussed the trim notice advertisement of the first budget hearing on September 11th. And then we actually did take an actual trim notice, and we showed the highlight here, because here's the one you can see here clearly where somebody might say, hey, you know, I paid $2,400 for the taxes. Yes, you're absolutely correct, but only $241.88 are earmarked for the town of Cutler Bay. And we use that same tax bill so we could show how to read that, where in this particular case, last year's 2024 value for the home was $85,000, current millage rate $241. If we went to the keeping it the same millage rate, that same property owner will experience an increase of $9.48. And we also showed that example. If the millage rate would have gone to the ceiling, that same homeowner would have paid $28.12. Obviously, you can see that the taxable value has gone up in this particular house $3,000. So we wanted to show the net effect of what we're proposing. Our millage rate journey. On July 17th, the proposed 2025 general fund budget was developed using the ceiling rate of 3.0432, sorry, that was approved via resolution 2554. And that there, when we started doing our preliminary budget, would have created a surplus of over $1 million. Then, as we had further discussion, the budget that we presented to the council on September 11th, the council adopted the new lower ceiling millage rate that reduced the original surplus by $864,000, yet created a budget surplus of $168,000. Today's second budget hearing. It was publicly advertised in the Miami Herald as per state statute. And there's actually requirements, size requirements for that as well. Number of public hearings that we've had since the town council discussed the budget. We actually had 5. So this is a long journey. So I know that, and Mayor, members of council, thank you for bearing with us, because you've seen this PowerPoint presentation over and over again. But I think it's important for the folks that maybe just came for the first time. Workshops again, June 18th, July 30th, August 28th. I want to emphasize that these workshops are not required by the state, but that's just something that we do in Cutler Bay to start early discussions and provide opportunities for residents to comment, because under each of these workshops, we provide the detailed budget reports on these items here. State mandated, there's 2. The first one was on September 11th, and the second one obviously is tonight, and tonight's final public budget hearing is per state law. Important how to read our detailed budget book. We try to keep it, very simple. Sometimes folks see the budget is very intimidating. We try to keep it very simple. We have a table of contents by departments: Mayor, Town Council, Town Clerk, General Government, Finance, Town Attorney, Community Development, Public Works, Town Sheriff's Office, and Parks and Recreation. And here's an example of what the detailed budget worksheet summary looks like with the pie charts. Also important to note, we have per our ordinance, we have what's called the fund balance reserve policy that both myself and the finance director have to provide a certification, because we do have an ordinance that requires at least 17% of our total general fund must be kept in our reserves. Just to give you an idea, and I know it's probably hard to read, folks at home, that minimum balance based on our budget would be $4.7 million. If you recall the fund balance flow chart that we had there, we have over 28. So we're well above that 17% average there. Also, as part of our charter, we break down the department and the cost per $1,000 per the millage rates. And it shows the personnel, total personnel, the cost of the budget, and the estimated millage cost per department broken down by that 2.8332. That's also included in the budget book, and folks at home can see that online as well. Then we get into the budget worksheets here. Similar, we have our actual 23-24, adopted 24-25 budget, projected 24-25, the tentative budget built now on the 2.8332 millage rate. That was the new lower ceiling rate, the net change from one fiscal year to another, the net change from workshops, from the second into the third workshop, And then also the net change from the first and second budget hearing that we're here tonight. It's a lot of information. We try to make it easy read. We bring in the footnotes there, and you can see on the side. So each one of the budget books and departments will have this spread out here, the historical data, so you can see just the trends. Just another example here, just an example of the finance department budget worksheet. We have all the different categories there. We provide you the examples below. And in terms of any types of significant variances there. Also this year, based on what we learned from last year, we wanted to provide even further transparency. We have the positions, we have the salaries for that position from 24-25, the 25-26 budget, council changes, manager's requests. We have the merit based on the employee's anniversary day. We have the COLA based on our new COLA resolution. There'll be a lump sum. And then you have the salary that currently that employee is earning. And then also for each one of the detailed budget books and the budget accounts, you'll see there it says accounting and auditing object code 32. We provide you the description, the budget from last year, the proposed budget for this year, any council changes, and then the manager's request. So each one of those are detailed, and this, members of council, this is exactly what our department heads use to build the budget. So as I said before, you have what we have, if that makes sense. So also, I think another item that we like to bring is we know that there's going to be a lot of development coming to the town, right? So I think we know that the future is bright. One, we know we have the South Place City Center that we've all spoken about. We know it's going to be eventually, when it's built out, a $1.5 billion impact. That's a big number, but I think what we know is that we're starting getting ready to start issuing a lot of permits, and we know that those fees are going to be coming in here pretty soon. I mean, these are literally actual renders that we received last week of what it's going to look like. Courtyard, the entertainment area, the hotel, the dining, and what have you. But for us, what you see there is not only the nice, pretty pictures, but you see buildings there. What we see is a couple of things. We see building permit revenues. We see impact fees, as well. So those are the kind of things that I think there was something to highlight, because we do know that it is coming. Not that it's planned. We actually have already approved, phase one of some of those build outs already. So with that, members of council, we're certainly here available to answer any questions from the council, and thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Ralph. To appreciate that. All right. This time I'm going to open it up for public input, public comments. So the floor is now open for public comments. Anybody wishing to speak, please come forward. There's no one in the auditorium. Is there anybody in the queue?
No one in the queue.
All right. And again, this is public comments for both items 11A and 11B. No takers. All right. Public comments is now closed. So we'll go to council discussion. All right. So Councilman Lord, you're recognized.
Thank you. With regard to 11B, in particular, the special revenue fund projects, under transit, we mentioned that Metro Connect will continue. We plan on continuing the use of Metro Connect, and we fund our use of Metro Connect. Is it $500,000 a year that we give to use Metro Connect?
Yeah, we received the grant from the Florida Department of Transportation. We actually renewed it. We received $250,000, and then we match dollar for dollar another $250,000 from our PTP transit portion. So that is the total project of $500,000. You're correct.
Right. So my concern with that is this. I watched the county budget process, and initially Mayor Cava had suggested that they discontinue the Metro Connect program, which I spoke at a public meeting with her and told her we have about 4,000 riders a month. Many of those go to the rapid bus transit system. Cutler Bay is doing with Metro Connect what the county wants the residents to do. Now they've decided to keep Metro Connect, but at the cost of over $3 per ride. So I have concerns if we're funding through a grant and our PTP funds $500,000 a year for us to have Metro Connect here. I don't think our residents should have to pay almost $4 to ride it.
And Councilmember Lord, that's a great question because I was also at that meeting that we had in Mayor Cava with the tour, and I think Councilmember Ramirez was there as well. And I think we made it very, very clear with Miami-Dade County. First, let me at least explain the relationship. The relationship that we have is that we have an interlocal agreement with the Miami-Dade County to provide our circulator service and as well as our point-to-point, first and last mile Metro Connect program. The county then uses the contractor through their process is called VIA. VIA. We have been in communication. I think our next meeting with them is going to be next Monday or Tuesday, Alfredo, if I recall, because we had those very same concerns. Because the fact that the county changed their model, there are contractors. So we are meeting with the county staff as well as the contractor to find out if the contractor has the ability of don't get me wrong, I'm gonna say it, geo mapping Cutler Bay's boundaries, and anyone who uses the Metro Connect service within that boundary is a free service. That was the intent of the grant. If they can't do that, then it will then require us, then I would come back to the council, bring another provider that can provide that. We're going to give the county, because we've had a great relationship with them and the Metro Connect, the opportunity to say, give them right of first refusal. If they can't do it, okay, then we owe that to our residents because that is what the grant was for. We just had our Lakeisha here, our grants quarter. We fought very hard for that grant to the point that this is like, I think the 4th year we actually renew it. So it's a $500,000 project, $250 from the state, $250,000 from us, and we want to maintain it as a free service. So let us go through those conversations now, and hopefully, I think we have a meeting in October. But we'll provide updates prior to that because if two things are going to happen, we're going to stay with them, or we will have to go through another municipality's piggyback contract in order not to have that type of service interruption.
Right. No, yeah, that was my concern. Not only are we spending a lot of money to have that program here, albeit half of it through a grant, and we are using it. It's the circulator is well used here and Metro Connect is well used here. It's necessary. So I just wanted to mention that and see your thoughts on that, and also just make sure that maybe we're already looking at some other providers. Thank you.
Thank you. That's why it's really important for, I'm glad that you went to that meeting because having that conversation, you highlight things that we may not have known. So thank you for bringing that forward. Any other comments from the council? No? All right. So no more comments for items 11. I'm going to look for a motion for 11A, please. Do you have to read the trim notice or it has to be approved first?
Good.
Yeah, the trim notice should be read after the millage rate
Okay.
motion has been made.
Looking for a motion for approving the millage rate at 2.8332, I believe.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion by Councilman Lord, looking for a second.
Second.
Second by Councilman Ramirez. Will you read the notice, please?
Robert, can you go ahead and read?
Sorry, I was having trouble unmuting. Yeah, just give me a second. I need to pull it up. So for the millage reso, the blanks are going to be. Okay, so for the millage rate reso, here we go. Okay, so the rate will be the final millage rate for the year commencing October 1, 2025 through September 30, 2026 is hereby fixed at a rate of 2.8332 mils per 1,000 of assessed property value within the town, which is 7.03% greater than the rollback rate of 2.6471 mils per 1,000 of assessed property value.
All right. All right. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Mayor, they have.
Oh, sorry. This roll call. Thank you.
Councilmember Lord,
Yes.
Councilmember Duncan,
Yes.
Councilmember Ramirez,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Callahan,
Yes.
Mayor Mairbach.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, looking for a motion on item 11B.
So move.
All right, we have a motion by Councilman Duncan, looking for a second.
A second.
We have a second by Councilman Lord.
And
Robert?
Mayor, sorry, we would like to, if we could have Robert read the total number.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor.
So the total budget amount, excuse me, for, where is it here? Is $146,841,231.
All right, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Duncan,
Yes.
Councilmember Ramirez,
Yes.
Councilmember Lord,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Callahan,
Yes.
Mayor Mairbach.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, thank you. Guys, again, we discussed this plan years ago. We're keeping on track with that. Do appreciate everybody. Color Bay is a shining example of doing things the right way. All right, so that takes us to item 11C, please.
A resolution of the mayor and the town council of the town of Cutler Bay, Florida, designating property located at 21900 Southwest 97th Avenue, Cutler Bay, Miami-Dade County, Florida 33189, and identified by folio number 36-6016-027-0010 as a brownfield area pursuant to section 376.802A Florida statutes for the purpose of rehabilitation, job creation, and promoting economic redevelopment, authorizing the town clerk to notify the Florida Department of Environmental Protection of said designation, and providing for effective date.
Ralph, sir, you recognize?
Thank you, members of council. Tonight we have Mr. Brett Brumman, a familiar face to us here from the Goldstein Law Firm. So Brett is going to have a brief PowerPoint presentation to summarize this resolution.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council, and town staff. My name is Brett Brumman with the Goldstein Environmental Law Firm here as a town consultant at the second of two public hearings to consider a resolution that would designate Blue Heron Park as a new Florida brownfield area as a way to mitigate some of the environmental issues caused by historical activities, agricultural activities in the region. So I'll keep the presentation brief. I'll skip ahead a few slides. But before we get there, this meeting was noticed several times through a public hearing notice, along with our community meeting notice published in the Miami Herald on August 8th, as well as with signs posted at the property. The first public hearing was noticed in the Miami Herald on August 31st, and then we had a second public hearing notice published on September 14th, again in the Miami Herald. Additional outreach was done through the town's e-newsletter, the Cutler Bay Community Newspaper center pages, as well as at our community meeting held on August 18th. And I just heard that we had 173 views of that meeting, so a few more than I discussed last time at our last meeting. The designation was also discussed during the open mic night number 2 on August 26th, and there being 1,900 views of that meeting online. And the designation and public hearing notices were posted on the town's website calendar, as well as on the town's hall bulletin boards right outside. So the park is located at 21900 Southwest 97th Avenue. It is a 5-acre park that has been closed since June 27, 2024, when the environmental issues were first identified. And those issues were primarily a result of the agricultural uses in the region. The park was gifted to the town when the town was incorporated by the Lakes by the Bay Community Development District for use as a park. But these issues were identified during what's called a background study conducted at the town's Legacy Park project to set a baseline or establish a baseline of these agricultural contaminants that still exist in soil in the area. The arsenic is our primary contaminant of concern, which is a common ingredient in historically used pesticides and herbicides at agricultural sites. And it's also a naturally occurring compound that a metal that exists in Miami-Dade County as a result of natural geological processes. So our remedial approach here will be excavation of the impacted soil, the contaminated soil above the water table, and replacing that with clean fill. All 296 trees at the park will be protected, and dust control and monitoring will happen throughout the cleanup process. Following the completion of the work, groundwater monitoring will continue for about a year. There were no groundwater impacts identified so far, but when you stir up all that soil, you don't know what you might find. So Miami-Dade County Durham will ask for at least 4 quarters of groundwater monitoring to confirm that there are no groundwater impacts that have been identified or that occur following the cleanup work. The park itself will be renovated through an enhanced master plan following the cleanup through installation of the reinstallation of the 9 outdoor fitness stations that are currently in the park, as well as a new and expanded rubber walking path and 2 new picnic pavilions to replace the picnic pavilions that are currently at the park. We expect the work to start no later than November of 2025. The town is currently finalizing bids and bid documents and plans to obtain competitive sealed bids from contractors. We expect the park to reopen by late 2025 or early 2026. We're going through this process to enter the property into Florida's Brownfields Redevelopment Program, which is a state-funded environmental rehabilitation program, and the town already participates at the Legacy Park site, which we call the Care Zone. So far, the Care Zone, the town has been able to recover over $260,000 in cleanup costs through the voluntary cleanup tax credit program, and we would expect a similar result, or I'm sorry, a more lucrative result here because the town expects to spend a little bit more money over a shorter time frame at the Blue Heron Park site. So the designation process requires that you as the town council consider 4 factors for designation. The statute does not require that you reach any particular finding as to these factors, merely that you consider them. Those 4 factors are whether the brownfield area warrants economic development and has a reasonable potential for such activities, whether the proposed area to be designated represents a reasonably focused approach, is not overly large, whether the area has the potential to interest the private sector in participating, and key here, I think, is whether the area contains sites or parts of sites suitable for limited recreational, open space, cultural, or historical preservation purposes. So again, you're not required to make any particular finding, but I think that this designation would provide a significant benefit to the town in the form of the approximately about $1 million in cost savings on a $2 million spend to do the rehabilitation at the property. And that money would come back to the town through the voluntary cleanup tax credit program. And this is the almost the final step of the process. We've had our community meeting. We also held a public hearing on September 11th, and this is our second and final public hearing. If the resolution is approved and the property is designated as a brownfield area, the town would then be eligible to enter into a brownfield site rehabilitation agreement with Miami-Dade County, which I believe is the next resolution on the agenda, which would give the town manager the authority to execute that brownfield site rehabilitation agreement following approval from Miami-Dade County. And I'm available to answer any questions on the brownfield area designation. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I'm going to open up the floor for public comments at this time. Are any public comments on this issue? Somebody forward, anybody in the queue?
No one in the queue.
Public comments are now closed, and this open to the council for questions on this. Our Councilwoman Lord, you're recognized.
Thank you. Hi, Brett. Thank you again for always coming out and informing us. Can you confirm for me, I think, because I attended the August 18th community meeting by Zoom, and I recall you saying either at that meeting or the last time you presented to us that if we designate this area as a brownfield before December 31st, we can go back all the way to the first of this year to recoup some of our losses there. Like we could go retroactively backwards, which I think is a really good point for us to, but I heard that correctly.
Correct. Is you're correct, Councilmember Lord. By signing the brownfield site rehabilitation agreement before December 31st, 2025, you would be eligible to go back to January 1st of 2025 to recover any cleanup costs, any assessment costs that any of that money that was spent within the calendar year of 2025.
That's great. Thank you.
Right. Good stuff. All right, any other comments?
I have one for Ralph, if I may.
Okay.
Ralph, can you elaborate? I'm excited about the improvements we were talking about making to the park. Can you elaborate a little bit more about those improvements for our residents?
Yes, thank you, Councilmember Lord. What we've been doing is working with our park staff that, since we're going to be removing all the soil there is an existing asphalt, not in the best condition track. So we're taking advantage of that, and we expanded a little bit further south. And then we're using the rubberized type of track that we're going to be, using there at that park to make it a lot easier for folks there and actually increase the permeability of it as well, so it's going to be there, and all the workout equipment will be removed and reinstalled. And also the existing pavilions that are not in the best conditions, even when we took it over from the CDD, those will then now be replaced with our standardized type of look pavilion, similar to the ones that we have at the canoe kayak launch. So now we figured, if we're going to go through all that improvement, might as well take a couple more extra steps. And that's why the plans have been delayed a little bit, but so that we're making that enhancement as well. Not only improving it, but we're actually enhancing, expanding the trail. And the pavilions will be new pavilions that'll have our signature look.
Any other comments or questions? No. All right, this is a resolution, so all in favor of approval, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carried.
Need a motion.
Motion, we need motion.
What's that?
Get the
We didn't
motion
make a
at
vote.
first.
Oh, that's right. I'm jumping ahead. Looking for a motion to approve item 11B.
So moved.
We have
11C.
11C, I'm sorry.
So moved.
So we have a motion by
Second.
Councilman Lord and a second by Councilman Duncan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you for keeping me in check, team. Okay. All right, takes us to item 11D.
A resolution of the mayor and the town council of the town of Cutler Bay, Florida, authorizing the town manager to execute a brownfield site rehabilitation agreement and site access agreement with Miami-Dade County, Florida, to include town-owned real property identified as folio number 36-6016-027-007-0010, appointing the town council of the town of Cutler Bay, Florida as the Brownfields Advisory Committee for work conducted on town-owned real property, providing for authorization and providing for an effective date.
All right, Ralph, sir.
Thank you for this item. We also have Brett Drummond from the law firm. So, Brett.
Thank you, Ralph. Thank you very much, Mayor. My name is Brett Brumman, Goldstein Environmental Law Firm. Here's a town consultant. This resolution would authorize the town manager to execute a brownfield site rehabilitation agreement with Miami-Dade County. And this brownfield site rehabilitation agreement, or we call it a BSRA for short, this is the mechanism by which the town is able to access the brownfield programs incentives provided by this state, including the voluntary cleanup tax credit program. Now, this agreement is virtually identical. It's a form agreement. It's virtually identical to the BSRA that the town is currently a party to at the CARE Zone for the Legacy Park project. The only difference here is that at the Legacy Park project, the town is a joint responsible party with Publix because you guys are both owners of a single large contaminated site. However, here, as the sole property owner, the town would be the sole responsible party under this agreement. This also means that the town would be required to establish its own Brownfield Advisory Committee as a way to increase public participation, hear periodic updates of the work that's happening at the park. This is a requirement of the statute, and every brownfield site must have an advisory committee. So if this resolution is approved, we will submit the draft brownfield site rehabilitation agreement to Miami-Dade County Durham for review. We expect a relatively quick review, and if all goes well, the agreement can be executed before the end of the year, allowing access to all of these brownfield incentives for costs incurred from January 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2025.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Rob, did you want to add anything at this time, or just go?
I think once we finish that, I wanted to bring in Michael Goldstein via Zoom on not just this BSRA, but the one that we're currently in with our friends from Publix. So once we finish this one, I'll
Okay, all right, so looking if there's any comments from the council. Okay, Councilman Lord, you're recognized.
Talkative tonight. Brett, I see that we're going to be appointing our town council as the Brownfield Advisory Committee. What does our role look like? What are the expectations there?
Thank you, Councilmember Lord. That's a great question. It's so the Brownfield Advisory Committee is required by statute and is a requirement of the BSRA. The committee at a minimum is required to meet when the site assessment report is prepared and when a remedial action plan is prepared. In this case, we've likely already accomplished those two milestones. So you're able to use the committee as you wish. It's a tool to increase public participation and provide a window into this project. way I've seen it done in other municipalities is the advisory committee just hears periodic updates at your discretion. I believe your regular meeting agendas do have a space for committee reports, and that may be a good opportunity to present occasionally with the status of the work happening at the park, the status of the cleanup work, and that would accomplish all of your advisory committee obligations. So that does not create additional meeting obligations, but you can incorporate those into your existing meeting schedule.
Anything else? No. All right. Looking for a motion on this item?
So move.
You have a motion by Councilman Ramirez, looking for a second.
Second.
Second by Councilman Duncan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Doctor, do you want to bring him in now?
Yes, thank you, Mayor, members of council. As we bring in Michael Goldstein, as you know, we are constantly looking for any type of funding source to help with our legacy park soil remediation program that we have right now. Right, we talked about it earlier through our budget journey that it's a $12.8 million project. We committed $6.5 million from our ARPA funds, and the remaining of the funds was from our fund balance. With that, I challenged the law firm Michael Goldstein to start looking at every option that we have and trying to take advantage of the different voluntary cleanup tax credits through FDEP. So with that, Mike, I hope I didn't steal too much of your thunder, Mike, if you're on.
He's on mute.
Good afternoon,
There you go.
Mr. Manager and
Okay.
Council. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Fabulous. Mayor, council members, town manager, town attorney, thank you so much for this opportunity to respond to questions and to provide some additional information supplementing the presentation of my partner, Brett Drummond. We're excited about the way we've been able to posture the town to receive additional economic benefits, both in terms of tax credits to recover dollars out the door and put that back into the general fund, as well as to tap into potential grant funding from FDEP for brownfields redevelopment. I'm going to start with the latter and then I'll come back to the former. Every year, DEP has a not so secret pot of money that they receive from EPA under the Superfund program to allocate to worthy projects at the local level for contamination assessment and remediation. And with the town manager's encouragement, we've been in close contact with the DEP Brownfields program. We've briefed them on the Blue Heron project, which they like very much. They understand what our objectives are here and how important it is to bring the site back up into public use for the community. And it appears that they are going to make a special allocation to us of up to $200,000 and leftover 2025 fiscal year monies for source removal. And every little bit helps. It will supplement the significant recovery we believe we are going to get through the sale of tax credits on Blue Heron, which should be about 68 cents on the dollar. And that project from an actual source removal perspective, getting the dirty dirt out of the ground and backfilling with clean fill and then bringing the site back online, the park back online is going to be moving forward in short order. So having that additional money available to the town and to the town manager is welcome indeed. And not every community gets those funds because they are highly competitive. That's the first bit of good news. That's making our money go even further than it otherwise would under the Brownfields tax credit program. But with respect to Legacy Park, as my partner Brett Drummond indicated a few moments ago, we have been pursuing site rehabilitation hand in glove with Publix under a joint brownfield site rehabilitation agreement. We are both signatories to that agreement, and we have to share a limited pot of tax credit monies, which is further limited by an agreement that we made with Publix, which gives them the lion's share of some of the back end tax credits. The good news here, the significant good news, is that again, with the encouragement and guidance of the town manager, our firm was able to shepherd legislation through the Florida House and the Florida Senate this year, through the governor's office, that amends the Brownfields program to allow us to bifurcate or separate the Brownfield agreement, the joint Brownfield agreement that applies to Legacy Park and to the public site, so that both Legacy Park and the public site will have their own Brownfield agreements, their own BSRAs. That's an argument that we're beginning to present to FDP. And if and when successful, long story short, we will be able to enjoy 100% of the back end tax credits, which provides, in theory, and we believe this will actually be the case when all is said and done, an extra $1 million in tax credits for the town of Cutler Bay, which should translate into $920,000 in cash recovery back into the general fund. Again, this is a result of legislation that the town manager encouraged us to pursue and gave us guidance on, and was effectuated at no cost to the town.
Oh, wow.
All right. Yeah.
Ralph, that's great news, $1 million. It's like, wow.
Right. Because
Go ahead.
and I think it's important to note the fact that we are separating from the public site. It's a win-win for both, right? Because Publix will then take advantage of their closeout bonus of $1 million, which is comprised of $500,000 for closing out their site assessment, and then $500,000 bonus because of the medical facility. So we will then take advantage of the same way. Why the medical in Legacy Park? During our planning phase in the community center, I've already been in communication with some of the local providers, names, hospitals that we know, for them to operate a community clinic on a limited basis throughout the week for our residents. Just by simply doing that, we will then be eligible for the additional $500,000 closeout bonus, in addition to the $500,000 that the medical bonus and the closeout bonus as well. So we're looking at every single angle. I mean, it's not a grant, but it's funds, and like Michael mentioned, the more we receive, the less pressure we have on our fund balance. So I want to at least wrap this up with the BSRA. Before we went on to the next item. So, thank you, Michael. Thank you, Brett. We're shaking down every tree. It's not always about the grant. It's also the taking advantage of the FDEP program and the new legislation that Michael spearheaded at the state.
You say it like it's like a matter of fact, very humbly, but that's basically some of your actions are bringing another $1 million into the town of Cutler Bay. So your experience and I guess creativity is to be commended. Thank you very, very much for that. So folks, we have great news on that. So but let's move on. We have item 11E.
Resolution of the mayor and the town council of the town of Cutler Bay, Florida, approving an amendment to the professional services agreement with Thorn Run Partners LLC for federal lobbying and advocacy services, waiving competitive bidding due to impracticability, providing for authorization, and providing for an effective date.
All right, Ralph, sir.
Okay, members of council, this is just simply extending another year for Thorn Run, Jim Davenport and his team that are up there working in DC behind the scenes. As you see, just recently we had a visit from our Congresswoman's District 27, Mayra Salazar, where she brought us the ceremonial check for $4.4 million for Marlin Road. We also secured an additional $1 million for the Saga Bay community there, and those two are already secured. Our grants coordinator is working with the agencies. They don't have a time expiration limit, so we understand that because there's going to be a lot of permitting involved, particularly the pipe from the Saga Bay Lake to the adjacent wetlands. We understand that. And then the other project that it's going through the track. It's $2 million for the Lakes by the Bay community. That made her short list. She only has each congressperson has only so many projects to submit, and that was also submitted. And Jim Davenport and his team's up there, working behind the scenes as well. So I feel that we are definitely getting our money's worth of work there. And Jim Davenport is online in case you need him. But again, Mayor, you've seen it when we've been up there DC, and you've seen him walk the halls with us as well. So I think it brings value to the town council. It's going to be a 1-year extension, and with that.
Okay, all right. Council, questions or comments? No? Looking for motion for approval?
So moved.
We have a motion by Councilman Lord, looking for a second.
Second.
I have a second by Councilman Ramirez. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, takes us back to item 11-8A.
An ordinance of the mayor and the town council of the town of Cutler Bay, Florida, amending chapter 18 floodplain management of the town code of ordinances relating to hazardous substances, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, providing for codification, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, members of council. This is one item that when we did our update to our floodplain ordinance, we thought we were going to be just doing it for the commercial business, but actually affects all the zoning districts where it would prohibit the folks to have hazardous substances within the special flood hazard area. What's that mean in practicality? All the folks that want to have like a emergency generator in their home, usually about 90% of them are LP gas. And we've actually had some folks come in and wanted to replace their appliances with LP gas that the utility companies haven't brought into the main down the street. So with that, when we looked at it, we said we chased the points, as you always talk about with the CRS, and this would have provided us a 20 points award. But then looking at that inadvertently, now we have folks that are in the permitting process that we're denying the permits because we created this ourselves. So what we're simply doing here is removing the hazardous substance from the special flood hazard area. We feel that it'll provide residents the ability to not only for emergency generators, but also for their household appliances as well. So yes, we will lose the 20 points, but we have a strong class 3 rating. So it won't have a negative effect. This is the first reading, and the second reading will come on October 15th.
Right. All right, council questions or concerns? No? I did see the email. Emergency generators are very, very important, especially during hurricane season. So, all right, with that, I'm looking for motion for approval.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion by Councilman Ramirez. I have a second by Councilman Duncan. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Ramirez,
Yes.
Councilmember Lord,
Yes.
Councilmember Duncan,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Callahan,
Yes.
Mayor Mirabot.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, that concludes our business for this evening. So, everybody have a great evening. Thank you very much. Bye.